There's one AI agent that does everything Manus can do, but it's completely free, open source, and runs on your own computer. And most people still haven't heard of it. Agent Zero is an open source AI agent framework that runs entirely inside a Docker container on your machine. Unlike ChatGPT, Claude, or Manus, it's not a chatbot. It's a general-purpose AI assistant that plans, reasons, and executes. It writes code, installs software, browses the web, and creates its own tools on the fly. You give it a goal, and it figures out the steps. And here's the kicker. It runs entirely on local models using Ollama, or free API tiers from OpenAI, Grok, and others. No subscription needed, no corporate terms of service. You own it. The GitHub repo has over 16,000 stars and is actively maintained with weekly updates. Manus made waves as one of the first AI agents the average person could try. But there's a catch. It's closed source, subscription-based, and you're trusting their servers with your data. Agent Zero takes the same concept, an autonomous agent that plans, reasons, and executes, and makes it self-hosted. Your data stays on your machine. You choose the model. You control the tools. The Linux Foundation themselves wrote about Agent Zero as a blueprint for decentralized AI agents. The website says it plainly. Agent Zero gives you transparency and customization you won't find in Manus, ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, or Grok. For businesses handling sensitive data, that's a game changer. Instead of sending your documents to a third-party API, the agent works locally on your own hardware. Now let me run through what actually makes Agent Zero special. First, the computer is the tool. Most AI agents come with a fixed set of pre-built tools. Agent Zero does the opposite. It has no single-purpose tools pre-programmed. Instead, it can write its own code and use the terminal to create tools as needed. If it needs to process a PDF, it writes a script. If it needs to scrape a website, it builds a scraper. Second, multi-agent cooperation. Every Agent Zero instance can spawn subordinate agents to handle subtasks. It's like an AI org chart. The main agent delegates, sub-agents report back, and you sit at the top. Third, persistent memory. Agent Zero uses a hybrid memory system powered by vector search. It remembers what worked yesterday and gets faster over time. Fourth, model flexibility. You're not locked into one provider. Use OpenAI, Anthropic, Grok, OpenRouter, or run it entirely offline with Ollama. Even works with free API tiers. Fifth, the skills system. This just got added. Agent Zero now supports cross-platform skills using the open SKILL.md standard. Same standard used by Claude Code, Cursor, and GitHub Copilot. Skills are portable. Write one once, and it works across multiple agent frameworks. Sixth, MCP integration. Agent Zero supports the Model Context Protocol. It acts as both an MCP client and server. That means it connects to hundreds of external tools through the MCP ecosystem. Seventh, projects. You can organize work into isolated projects, each with dedicated agents, separate context, and Git repository integration. Different clients, different codebases, no bleeding between them. And there's more. Extensions, a Python-based system for deep behavior customization. Knowledge base, drop documents for the agent to reference, your own personal RAG system. Speech capabilities, built-in text-to-speech and speech-to-text using local Whisper. REST API for automation. And a clean web UI with no coding required. You just prompt and communicate. Agent Zero runs in Docker, fully isolated from your host machine. Your files and accounts stay protected while the agent works in its own sandbox. If you want to try an AI agent without paying a subscription or trusting a third party, Agent Zero is where I'd start. Link in the description, agent-zero.ai. That's your BizThrive AI deep dive for March 26th. Subscribe for more, and I'll see you tomorrow. Brought to you by BizThrive AI, a global specialist in AI voice reception and business automation workflows. Visit bizthrive.ai for more information.